Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. I hope you're having a good day. I want to do a video on all the work we've done so far the last couple days on adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Now, to add and subtract fractions with different denominators or unlike denominators, what you want to do first is find the lowest common denominator, or the LCD. You want to write equivalent fractions with the common denominator, and then you want to add or subtract the fractions and write them in lowest terms. So let's take a look at how to do that. I'm going to skip forward to the first question, and it says add or subtract each set. Now, what's really important here, one of the main things we want to do when we're doing this, is we want to make sure we write the questions vertically. So I'm going to write this question as 1/3 plus 1/6, but I'm going to write it one fraction below the other. That's really important, and you'll see why later on. The other thing I want the kids to do is I want them to have a piece of paper for scrap paper. Now, some people will not need to do that if you're quick with your mental math. So I'm going to put scrap or mental math. And then what you need to do is, the first thing, since the denominators are not the same, the denominators are 3 and 6, we want to find the lowest common denominator of 3 and 6. So we'll do that in the scrap or mental math area, because some kids might end up just doing it by mental math. So what you do is you skip count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, and skip count by 6s, 6, 12. The first one you have in common is the lowest common denominator. So we're going to say that the LCD is 6. Now, if you can do that work by mental math, that is great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that lowest common denominator, 6, and we're going to write this beside each fraction. This is something I expect everyone to do. This is the work I want to see. I want to see these equivalent fractions. Now, 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2 for 2 over 6. 1 over 6 stays the same because it already has denominator 6. And now we're able to add up these equivalent fractions with the same denominator. 2 plus 1 is 3 over common denominator of 6. And this is how I want to see the kids do it. This is what I'll expect to see. Then we have to put the fractions in lowest terms by dividing the numerator and denominator by the same number. And you get that the fraction in lowest terms is 1/2. Okay, so that's how we add and subtract fractions with different denominators. I'm going to do another question. So this question, 2 over 5 plus 4 over 15. And I'm going to have a piece of scrap paper or something for mental math. So I'll put scrap or mental math. And remember, if you can find the lowest common denominator with mental math, you don't have to show it. So the two denominators in this question are 5 and 15. So I'm going to write 5, I'm going to write 15, and I'm going to skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15. And I'm going to skip count by 15s. Oh, the first multiple of 15 is 15. Once we have one the same, we're done. So the lowest common denominator is 15. I take that lowest common denominator and I write both fractions with that lowest common denominator. This is the part I have to see. 5 times 3 gives me 15. So 2 times 3 gives me 6. The kids should show that. 4 over 15 already has denominator 15, so we just keep it the same. Put a line under to total it up. 6 plus 4 is 10 over 15. And there's our answer. And then all we need to do is put it in lowest terms. Divide by 5, divide by 5. That is 2 over 3. Done. That's the fraction in lowest terms. Okay, this is the work I would need to see in your notebook, and I'd need to see it just like that. Let's do a couple more. Number 3, 1 over 4 plus 5 over 7. And I'm going to keep an area for scrap or mental math. Okay, and I'm going to take denominator 4, denominator 7. And I'm going to list multiples of 4 and 7. 4, 8, 12, 7, 14, 21. So I'm skip counting until I get one that's the same. Best to go with the smaller one a little bit because you'll see where they match up. 16, 20, we're close but not there yet. 28, oh, I think I see it. 24, 28. There's the one that's the same, 28. So we'll say the LCD is equal to 28. Take both fractions and write with denominator 28. Four times 7 gives 28. 1 times 7 is 7. 7 times 4 gives 28. 5 times 4 is 20. Total up the fractions I've drawn in black, and it's 27 over 28. And that's the fraction in lowest terms. Remember, this is the work I would need to see. This work can be done on scrap paper or it can be done by mental math. Let's do a couple more. Okay, number 4. 3 over 5 plus 1 over 6. And we'll have an area for scrap or mental math. Okay. So the denominators are 5 and 6. So I'm going to take denominator 5, I'm going to take denominator 6, and I'm going to skip count. 5, 10, 15, 6, 18, not 18, 6, 12, 18. Do a few more with 5, 20, 25, 24, 30. Oh, there we go. 30 is the one they have in common. That's the lowest common denominator is 30. I'm going to take both fractions and write them with denominator 30. Okay, to go from 5 to 30, I multiply by 6 and do the same thing to the top. Make sure you show that. Show all your thinking. 6 times 5 gives 30. 1 times 5 gives 5. Add those up, and that's 23 out of 30. And that fraction's in lowest terms. Same pattern every time, and it really builds on all the skills that we've been doing in class. Okay, let's do one last one. Do a subtraction one. Maybe we'll do 2 more, we'll see. So 3 over 4 minus 1 over 12. And I want to divide into scrap. Or mental math. Okay, and I'll take my denominator 4 and my denominator 12. And I'm going to skip count until I get one that's the same. 4, 8, 12. Oh, look at that. The first multiple of 12 is 12. So my lowest common denominator equals 12. So I'm going to write both fractions with denominator 12. Okay, 4 times 3 gives 12, so 3 times 3 gives 9. 1 over 12 stays the same. This time the only difference is we subtract. 9 take away 1. 9 take away 1 is 8 over 12. And of course, we always have to put in lowest terms. Hopefully you see that you can divide by 4, and that's 2 over 3. And there's your fraction in lowest terms. So adding, subtracting, it's the same idea every time. Okay, let's do one last question. Number 6. Okay, so 13 over 18 minus 1/3. And I'm going to have an area for scrap or mental. So, get my lowest common denominator of 18 and 3. I'm going to do that by skip counting. Skip count by 18 and 3. I'll start with the lower number because we'll see, I have a feeling 3 and 18 are related in some way. I think 18 is a multiple of 3. So I'll go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And the first multiple of 18 is 18. So there's my lowest common denominator. It's 18. Take both fractions and write them with lowest common denominator, 18. 13 over 18 doesn't change. I know 3 times 6 will give me 18. So 1 times 6 is 6. I subtract 13. Take away 6, I get 7 over 18, and that's the fraction in lowest terms. So there's a rundown of adding and subtracting fractions, kids. So you have an assignment today. I'm going to jump to it. It's ML 42. I gave you the worksheet in class. It's number 6 and number 11. You have to show all work. Just like we were just doing in all the examples, and that assignment is due tomorrow. So I hope that makes sense. Watch this video a couple times if you need some help. That's it for now. Flexing Teacher Weber, out.